My wife said she was working late, but her GPS led me to a nightmare I'll never forget. So this might be the hardest thing I've ever written, but I guess that's what Reddit's for, right? I, 34M, have been married to my wife, Emily, 31F, for almost 6 years. We met at a friend's wedding, cliché, I know. And I was smitten from the second she spilled wine on my shirt and apologized like her life depended on it. She was funny, smart, gorgeous, and most of all real. Or at least, she seemed real. The thing is, our marriage wasn't perfect, but it wasn't bad either. We had our ups and downs like anyone else. Fought about chores, finances, dumb stuff. But we always made up. She used to grab my face and say, "You're my person, okay?" Always. And I believed her. Until a few weeks ago. It started small, like all disasters do. Emily began working late. She's in marketing at this mid-sized firm downtown. Long hours weren't out of the ordinary, especially with a new campaign they were rolling out. So at first, I didn't think much of it. But then it became every night. She'd come home around 10, sometimes later. No kisses. No conversation. Just, "I'm exhausted," followed by her disappearing into the shower and crashing in bed. I chalked it up to stress. Tried to be supportive. Cooked dinner. Clean. Left little notes in her bag. But something was off. You know when someone's physically there, but emotionally miles away? That was Emily. The real crack happened on a Friday. She was supposed to meet me and some coworkers at a bar. Nothing crazy, just drinks after a long week. She texted me last minute. "Sorry, babe, stuck at the office. Big client emergency." I told her it was cool. Stuff happens. But then, I saw something. When I got home, I noticed her iPad on the kitchen counter. Unlocked. I wasn't snooping, I swear I wasn't. But the screen lit up with a notification. Google Timeline Summary, you visited 3 locations today. I tapped it. Don't ask me why. Curiosity? Gut instinct? Maybe deep down, I already knew. And there it was. She hadn't been at her office. At 7:02 p.m., she was at a restaurant in the Arts District. At 8:41 p.m., she checked into a boutique hotel downtown. And the third location. His name was right there on the screen. Matt's Loft, 112 Jefferson Street. Matt, her coworker. The one she said was annoying but harmless. The one she swore she'd never be into. I sat there, staring at that screen, my stomach in knots, my hands shaking. I wanted to throw the iPad across the room. Scream. Cry. Anything. But I just froze. The worst part? I didn't confront her that night. I pretended everything was normal. Asked about her big client emergency. She fed me some lie about the printer jamming during a presentation. Said she didn't even have time to eat. I nodded. Played along. Even kissed her forehead before bed. But inside, something snapped. I couldn't sleep. Couldn't think straight. My heart was pounding like I was being chased. I needed proof, real proof. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I started digging. Over the next few days, I played the part of the loving husband. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, I became a full-blown investigator. I pulled her GPS history, reviewed her call logs on our shared phone plan, installed a security cam in the living room, checked bank statements. Every breadcrumb I found only confirmed what I already suspected. Emily wasn't just cheating on me. She was deeply involved. With someone I knew. With someone she lied about repeatedly. But the real twist? The thing that punched me in the gut and left me breathless? It wasn't just a fling. It was planned. Deliberate. And it was still happening. Right under my nose. But I wasn't going to let it go. No. I wanted to see it. I needed to catch her in the act, not just for the closure, but to shatter every lie she'd ever told me. So I made a plan. A real one. And let me just say this, the night I followed her changed everything. And that's where I'll leave it for now. I'll be honest, by the time Friday rolled around, I wasn't even nervous anymore. I was cold, empty, like my emotions had packed their bags and walked out before I did. I had one goal, find out the truth. She left the house around 6:10 p.m. Said she was heading back to the office to get ahead of Monday's launch. Kissed me on the cheek like she always did. told me not to wait up. That was her new line, don't wait up. But this time, I followed her. I parked my buddy's car a few blocks away earlier that day. Black SUV, tinted windows. Unrecognizable. I didn't want to take mine, too obvious. I waited a few minutes after she pulled out, then tailed her from a distance, heart beating slow and steady. I half expected her to head toward downtown to her office building. She didn't. She drove across town and pulled into a parking garage on Jefferson Street. Matt Street. I parked a block away and waited. 5 minutes passed. 10. 15. Then I saw her. She stepped out of the garage in heels and a tight black dress I hadn't seen before. Not office attire. Not even close. She was smiling, like really smiling. The kind of smile I hadn't seen in months. And then he appeared. Matt, tall, smug, wearing that fitted blazer I used to compliment him on at company parties. He wrapped his arm around her waist like he'd done it 1,000 times. She leaned into him, whispered something in his ear. He laughed. They kissed in public and walked into the building together. My chest felt like it caved in. I just sat there, hands gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. The thing is, I didn't even feel angry in that moment. Just defeated. But I wasn't done. I waited. An hour passed. Then 2. Around 9:40 p.m., the building lights flickered. A window on the 3rd floor lit up. A shadow moved. Then another. And then a curtain pulled back, just enough to reveal her. Bare shoulders. Hair messy. She was holding a wine glass laughing. I couldn't see him, but I didn't need to. That was enough. More than enough. I took a picture with my phone. Then a video. Just 30 seconds of her pacing in front of the window, laughing, glass in hand. Pure, damning evidence. But here's where things get weird. Just as I was getting ready to leave, I saw another car pull up. Black Lexus. Tinted windows. Parked right outside the building. I watched as a woman stepped out. Short blonde hair, coat barely hiding what looked like a cocktail dress. She pulled out her phone, looked up at the building, and frowned. She stood there for a moment, then walked inside. And less than 5 minutes later, all hell broke loose. I heard yelling. Crash. Then more yelling, female voices. Another crash. Then Matt came running down the stairs in nothing but sweatpants, no shoes, phone in hand. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. He darted into the street, made a call, and just stood there, pacing. Moments later, Emily came out too, barefoot, hair wild, crying. She was shouting something at him. He tried to hug her, and she shoved him. Hard. Then the blonde woman came out and slapped Emily across the face. Right there in the street. I swear, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Emily was yelling, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. And the woman just kept saying, liar. Liar. You're trash. Turns out Matt had a girlfriend. Or maybe a fiancé. Maybe even a wife. I don't know it. But one thing was clear. I wasn't the only one being lied to. I sat there, completely still, watching my wife fall apart in front of me. She tried to get back in the building, but the woman blocked her. Matt disappeared into the night like the coward he is, and Emily was left on the curb, crying into her hands like she was the victim. Like she was the one who got cheated on. I wanted to get out of the car. Scream at her. Ask her why. Ask her when. Ask her how she could lie to my face every night and pretend we were okay. But I didn't. I just drove home. I sat on our couch, stared at the walls, and listened to the silence. It felt louder than anything I'd ever heard. She came back around midnight. Said she'd gotten caught up at work. Didn't mention the bruised cheek. Didn't mention the argument. Didn't say a word about Matt. And I didn't say a word either. Because now, I had a plan. Not just to confront her, but to destroy every single lie she's wrapped herself in. This isn't just about betrayal anymore. It's about truth. And she has no idea what's coming next. The morning after I watched my wife cry in the street, lie to my face, and crawl into bed like nothing happened, I didn't sleep. Not a single second. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, trying to process the night before. The image of her laughing in his apartment window. The screaming. That slap. The audacity of her walking into our home, with mascara smudged from fake tears and feeding me another one of her pathetic lies. I knew what I had to do. I wasn't just going to catch her again. I was going to make her admit everything. On camera. With proof so bulletproof she couldn't spin it even if she tried. And I wanted her to see the look on my face when her lies came crashing down. So I made a plan. First, I transferred everything from my phone to a cloud folder. Photos, videos, GPS screenshots, timestamps. I labeled them neatly like a case file. My lawyer friend once told me, in a divorce, truth matters. But proof? Proof wins. Next, I bought a tiny spy cam online, disguised as a USB charger. I plugged it into the outlet in our bedroom, right near the dresser. Full view of the bed, just in case. Then I waited. 3 days passed. She acted normal. Too normal. She kissed me goodbye every morning, sent me dry "how's your day" texts, and acted like we were fine. I played along. I even suggested we do a date night Friday. Really, she said, her eyes lighting up a little. Like dinner out? I nodded. Told her I made a reservation at her favorite place, some Italian place where they charge $18 for 3 pieces of ravioli. She smiled and said she'd be there. What she didn't know was that I never planned to meet her there, because she wouldn't show up anyway. I was testing her. And right on cue, Friday afternoon, I got the text. Hey, babe, I'm so sorry. Work emergency again. Can we reschedule? I smiled. I already had the tracker live. I watched in real time as her location pinged near 112 Jefferson. Matt's place. Again. Like nothing had happened. Like I hadn't sat in a car watching her kiss him. Like that blonde woman didn't slap the soul out of her in the middle of the street. She was still going back. Still lying. That's when I knew she was too far gone. She wasn't sorry. She was just scared of getting caught. So I decided to give her exactly what she deserved. That night, I changed the locks while she was gone. She didn't come back until almost 2 a.m. She called my phone when her key didn't work. I ignored it. Then she knocked. Pounded. Cried. Please open the door. It's freezing out here. I opened it. Stood in the doorway. And said calmly, Where were you tonight, Emily? She paused. Just for a second. Then smiled. Work. I told you, remember? Big pitch next week. I stepped aside and let her walk in. She started rambling about how tired she was, how the office was a mess, how she barely had time to eat. I cut her off. Matt says hi. Her body froze. It was subtle, just a quick breath, a tiny stutter in her step, but I saw it. What? She whispered, turning around. I said Matt says hi. And so does the woman who slapped you in front of his building. You remember her, right? Silence. Her eyes darted to mine, then away. Were you following me? No, I said. I caught you, and that's when I reached for the remote. I turned on the TV. Hit play. The footage rolled, her laughing in his window, glass in hand, half-dressed. Her face turned white. Why would you? You told me you were at work. That's not work, Emily. Tears welled up in her eyes. It's not what you think. Oh, it's exactly what I think. She started crying. Said it was a mistake. Said she didn't mean for it to go this far. Said she felt alone. Said I wasn't emotionally available. All the cliché excuses cheaters use when they finally get caught. I just stared at her. No emotion. Just cold silence. Then I said, I'm filing for divorce. She collapsed to the floor like her legs gave out. Cried harder. Begged me not to do this. Swore she'd never see him again. Promised therapy. Said she'd do anything to fix this. I leaned down, looked her in the eye, and said, You didn't just lie. You betrayed every part of who we were. You looked me in the eye and told me I was your person. You don't come back from that. She just sobbed. And I walked upstairs, closed the door, and locked it. But that wasn't the end. Because the next morning, I woke up to something way worse than I expected. A letter, folded neatly on the kitchen table, with a sentence that made my blood run cold. I never meant to hurt you, but there's something you don't know. I stared at that letter for a long time. Didn't even touch it at first. Just stood there half awake in last night's clothes, trying to decide whether I was ready for whatever came next. Because let's be real, cheating was already soul-shattering. But something about that last line, "There's something you don't know," sent a chill straight through my spine. I picked it up, sat down, took a breath. Then I read it. "I never meant to hurt you. I swear to God, I didn't plan for any of this to happen. Matt wasn't supposed to be anything more than a distraction. It started months ago, back when things between us felt distant cold. You were always working late, always tired, always somewhere else. And I was lonely. So lonely it hurt to breathe. I never stopped loving you, but I also didn't know how to reach you anymore. So I made the biggest mistake of my life. Matt made me feel seen, heard, wanted. For a little while, I could pretend everything was okay. But it wasn't. Not even close. And now I've ruined everything. But there's something I need to tell you. Something I've been keeping from you since the beginning. I'm pregnant. I don't know who the father is. I felt the room tilt sideways. I had to read it again and again. Each time, those last two lines burned deeper than the first. Pregnant, and she doesn't know who the father is. That was it. That was the final blow. The knockout punch. All the air left my lungs in one sharp exhale. My hands were shaking, and my vision blurred. I don't even remember standing up. But next thing I knew, I was in the bathroom, staring at myself in the mirror. Just staring at this hollowed-out version of me. Because how do you come back from something like that? It's one thing to be cheated on. It's another to know your wife was carrying someone else's child. Maybe mine. Maybe not. She came home later that afternoon. Quiet. Head low. She knew I'd read it. She knew what it meant. We sat in silence for a long time. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't even speak. I just waited for her to say something, anything. Finally, she did. "Please believe me when I say I didn't do this to hurt you." I just looked at her and asked, "Are you going to keep it?" She nodded. "I think so." "Do you even want to find out whose it is?" She paused. "I don't know if I can handle that answer." I stood up. "You don't get to protect your feelings anymore, Emily. You burned everything to the ground. You don't get to play innocent." She cried, of course. But I didn't care. I'd already scheduled a paternity test for myself. Quietly. Just in case. I wasn't going to raise another man's child because my wife couldn't keep her vows or her pants on. But here's where the story takes another twist. Because the next morning, I got a call. Unknown number. Out-of-state area code. I let it go to voicemail, but they left a message. And what I heard changed everything. "Hi, I don't know if this is the right number, but if this is the husband of Emily Carter, I really need to speak with you. My name is Haley. I'm Matt's fiancé. Please call me back. It's about something you deserve to know." Fiancé. Fiancé. So Emily wasn't just the other woman. She was the one helping destroy someone else's future too. And Haley sounded calm. Too calm. Like she'd already been through the storm, and now she was ready to burn the whole house down. I called her back, and what she told me next wasn't just about cheating. It was about manipulation, lies, and a long-running scheme that went far deeper than I ever imagined. Turns out, Matt had been sleeping with multiple women. Not just Emily. Not just Haley. He was using them, lining them up, feeding them all the same lines. "My fiancé doesn't understand me. You're the only one who really gets me. We're about to break up anyway." Matt was a full-blown predator. And Emily? She wasn't his first. She was just another name on his list. But then Haley said something that stopped my heart. "You should know. Matt has herpes. And he never tells anyone.